to the left of the scale. Oh. Your tagg's sticking out of your sweater, eh?
Andrew? First step of the day.
We were able to get a hold of
We'll be right here in room 1. My name is Jacob. I'm going to be your medical assistant today.
You want to see my meds?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do some of these first so it gives your blood pressure time to go down.
Alright.
Because some people show up to the doctor and it goes, wee.
Yeah. I just took my meds maybe an hour ago so they could still be taking effect. I got switched from Carvedilol to Motropolol.
Monotropolol.
I can't take it. It makes me even more lightheaded and dizzy than the Carvedilol.
I was going to say, I saw that in your notes, so I won't, if it's not in there, I won't add it. If it is in there, I'll just mark it as not taking. And when the doctor comes and see you, that's something you can...
Out of all my meds, these are the only ones I'm taking anymore. The Entresto, that's also an old prescription. It's half the dose of what I'm prescribed. I can't handle a higher dose either.
Sleep going. And you're no longer, you finished your amoxicillin whenever you had that?
Yeah, I don't think I even finished it.
I'm not supposed to tell you that's okay, but... Sorry, it's just taking me a second. Your stuff is... It's not your fault. It is not your fault at all. There's just... stuff a little bit all over the place. Okay. Jardim. Benadryl.
I think the Jardiance, I don't have any refills left. I'm getting low.
Was it prescribed by someone here in the office?
No, came from LA.
No way. But I believe Jardiance is a heart-related drug, so I believe you can talk to Stacy about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
I take it for my diabetes.
I would talk to Tracy and see about getting that. Do you take a low-dose aspirin sometimes?
I'm supposed to take 81 milligram, but I just take the
You just take the bigger one?
325.
Okay.
I believe it works out to be cheaper that way.
Probably. Whatever works for you.
It's not enteric coated though.
Just add this to your chart, and then we will be done with that, and I will get your vitals, and then Tracy will be ready. This helps, by the way. I appreciate you bringing this in. Because instead of going back and forth, I'm trying to say the names, and I'm not saying them right, and you have no idea what I'm talking about. Triple, it's on here, I'm gonna mark it as not taking, and then today when the doctor goes over everything with you and she'll decide to discontinue it, she'll take it off your chart for you.
Alright. Having issues with it where getting up from bed, or if I have to squat down and get up at work, like put something on the floor and get up, or reach above head height, and I just get excessively dizzy.
Yeah, unfortunately, things like that. Maybe there's a different medication she can try for you, or something else that's already working. I'm not a doctor, so I don't fully know all that. But hopefully there's, she's not going to sit here and tell you you have to take it if it's making you feel like crap, you know what I mean? I'm going to put this on that index finger right there, and you're just going to feel a hug. One arm hug.
And it was my new primary that put me on hydrochlorothiazide. And I told them I'm not supposed to take that with Entresto, but they insisted it's okay.
I would confirm that with Stacy if that's something you are concerned about. Your blood pressure's a little high, but like I said, everyone comes to the doctor and they're like, oh my goodness.
That's why they prescribed the hydrochlorothiazide.
Blood pressure was... Oh, you've lost. Did I put something down wrong? Yes. Pulse is at 86 though, which is good. And then they do have a new policy starting at Providence, where if it's high on one arm, they want us to take it on the other arm. I'm going to take this off you because you don't need this anymore, but I'm just going to get your blood pressure on your other arm real quick.
Alright.
We usually find it's either higher or doesn't make a difference, but it's what they want us to do. So they're sending my paycheck, that's what I'm going to do. Go ahead and just relax that arm, but also the left arm is closer to your heart, so sometimes it's a little more accurate.
So I get 2 hugs today.
Yeah, you get 2 hugs today. You don't just get 1. You're special. 160 over 96, yeah. Great. That is all I need from you. Stacy will be in shortly, okay?
Alright.
And feel free to tell her about all those concerns that you have concerning your medication. Because those are all very valid concerns to have.
I don't know if I'll remember.
I can write them down and talk to her. You were worried about your hydrochlorothiazide?
Hydrochlorothiazide.
Yeah, that one.
She even told me last time I was here not to use diuretics.
And then your Jardiance.
Yeah.
And of course, she'll see that too on your chart. And she'll be able to talk to you. But yeah, I'll brief her.
And the Metropol.
Oh yeah, that's on your visit reason.
Alright.
So she's definitely seen that. But yeah, she'll be right in. Thank you.
Alright.
Metoprolol, fail.
Yeah,
Okay.
no good.
Well, we'll try something else. You know, the Coreg, then beta blockers are just tough when we're younger. You know, this is the problem where youth, you know, you give it to an 80-year-old and they don't notice any difference because they're already not a problem. You know, and there's other ones to try, you know. There's actually, it's not a new beta blocker, but it's something that we've been using more because with all the amazing advances with the Entresto and all the other things that we give now, bisoprolol is the name of it. It's kind of a weird one, right? And it's sometimes, if we don't tolerate Coreg or metoprolol, it's worth a shot, you know? We try it and we see how it goes, you know? It's once a day, so it's not like Coreg, which is the twice a day. It's like the metoprolol that's once a day. And we just try it, right? What's the worst that happens? We just say, hey, the beta blocker is just not conducive with where you want to be.
Once a day sounds nice.
Yeah, once a day. For sure better, right? Yeah. And you know, most of the time we recommend taking it at night so that when it's maximally working, you're sleeping. But then if you feel like you're having side effects on that, you try it during the day and see, you know. But I would say start at night, bisoprolol. So it comes in 5, 10, but I would say, you know, 5, maybe we cut them in half to start. Like, you know, you have a pill cutter or, you know, okay, good. I think usually the manufacturer, it's a big enough tablet to cut in half, but let's just try a baby dose and see how it goes, you know? Okay. And again, nighttime and get rid of the metoprolol. We tried, we failed. You know, you're like, oh, I'm so sick of all
And
this.
the intake nurse, I guess.
Okay.
You said I should ask about getting refills of Jardians.
The Jardians, okay.
You said it's somehow heart related, but I take it for diabetes. I
That's
don't have
right.
any refills and
Yes.
I'm getting low.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, sometimes if we send in the refill, coming from cardiology, sometimes it works better. Hey, that's easy for me, you know?
And the Entresto, I'm only taking an old dose.
Okay.
Because I can only handle half of
Half.
what's been prescribed.
Okay, very good. Do you need me to renew that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Better
have
to
quite a few left. But
Okay.
I don't have like
refills.
in-
Okay. And for the Jardians, better for 90 days than the 30
Yeah.
days, right? Yeah, okay.
I haven't had any problems with it, so we might as well go with the
Yeah.
90.
Very good. Okay, let me take this metoprolol out. Let me get it into the...
And my Zeo patch
Yes.
came off in like at the first day.
They sent me a message about that. Yeah, they're like, oh, I'm like, shoot, you know? Was it sweat? Why do you think you just did?
Because I showered with it, but I was
Yeah.
trying to do just
Yeah, do the lower body,
only
yeah.
the lower body.
Well, that's
I
hard
think it
sometimes.
still got wet and
Yeah.
a lot of sweat too.
I know, and I remember that historically that some people are just sweatier, right? You know, it's just who you are. It's not going to change. You know, shoot. How have you felt overall? Like the symptoms have been about the same?
I like low energy,
Yeah, low energy.
no adrenaline.
Yeah, it's just a lot,
I
right?
get dizzy and
Yeah.
lightheaded frequently.
Mm. Let's see.
Sometimes muscle cramps.
Yeah. So we're on, I'm trying to remember the Entresto. You're taking a half of the 49 dose, or are you taking a half of the 24 that you have in?
That was another one they prescribed me though.
Uh-huh. Hydrochlorothiazide.
Yeah,
Mhm.
even though I thought it was specifically told not to take it with Entresto.
I know, because it can make the potassium. Perfect. So you're taking a half of this one?
No, I take one. A whole
Oh, one.
dose.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to
But my
update that.
prescribed dose
Is
the-
49, which
yeah.
I don't think you can adjust. Yeah, let's adjust that.
Plus, I read Entresto is not mixed completely correct, so if you snap it, you don't know what dose you're getting.
It's definitely one of those where we have a lot of patients that take a half of the higher, but you're right. But you worry a little bit less because it's twice a day, right? So like if it's a once a day pill and you're cutting it in half, that can be tricky because you can. But if you're taking it twice a day, even if you get a little more in the morning and a little less at night, generally it's okay, you know. Where the hard part is a lot of our patients like cut the whole bottle in half, you know. So then you just never know. But it's hard. Okay, I'm gonna adjust this because it looks like it's not gonna let me like lower the dose. So I'm gonna discontinue it at that dose, the Entresto, and then I'm gonna reorder it at the lower dose just with refills.
I thought I would benefit from like going up to the 100, whatever, but
I know. Sometimes you can't tolerate it, even under the best of circumstances.
I've taken it long enough. I thought the higher dose would be something I would be ready for.
I know.
But it doesn't seem like that would be right now.
It doesn't seem like it's yeah. And so I always tell people, yes, there's benefit every improved dose we can do, but some people, they can only ever tolerate a half of this dose twice a day, and we just have to love you the way that you are with that. You know, it's better to be on a little than not be able to tolerate. Or I have some patients that want to be on the higher dose and then they hold it. It's better to just be on a lower dose consistently than the holding and the, you know, having to check your blood pressure and all that labor intensity, which is more problematic from your quality of life. We're trying to improve your quality of life, not lower it, you know?
Like significantly less appetite too.
Yeah.
And I'm losing weight.
Do you think, I mean, some people, you know, that's one of the benefits of Jardiance is that it's not like Lasix, right? It doesn't, but they lose a lot of water weight with it initially, especially because that's how it works. It has a little bit of a diuretic ability. So sometimes with Jardiance, over the first 1 or 2 prescriptions that they get, you know, they notice the weight gain, the weight loss. You know, and usually it's weight loss that actually they keep off because it's kind of keeping you a little bit less fluid overloaded. Even though when they started to give it to just heart patients, people that were not diabetic, just for the cardiac, they didn't lower the Lasix right off the bat for people that take Lasix all the time, but they definitely told them monitor because you might need to lower your Lasix. And in reality, about 30% of people didn't need to be on their Lasix once they started on the Jardiance, which is kind of cool, right? When we're trying to minimize meds because it's already so many meds. And which med is causing which side effect. It's just so, and you know, all the things related to all the diabetes meds, which certainly have appetite suppression in their categories of things, right? Do you feel like with that you have to like force yourself to eat, or it's not that bad?
I just don't really feel like eating.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can eat.
And
more.
sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Sometimes I'll buy food at lunch and won't even eat it.
Yeah. Okay, well, the bisoprolol, so I'm updating the Jardiance, I'm updating the right dose of Entresto, and then the bisoprolol, again, the lowest dose it comes in is in 5, and I wrote for 2.5, so you just cut it in half and we see. And if you tolerate it, great, we'll go to 5, but let's just not rock the boat. Let's just start at that 2.5 and see how you do, right? Because I know the beta blockers have historically been problematic for you. It's just tough. So, start.
I was using chewing tobacco again.
Yeah.
I quit that control.
Good.
I've quit for like 3 weeks now, I think.
Good for you. What do you think? You think it was stress that made you go back to it, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, stress. It's just, I was watching a document. My kids are on spring break, so we were watching a documentary about, you know, these longevity doctors, which I give it a grain of salt, right? They try to get these people to do it, but they were talking about, and it was interesting. Of course, we know stress is bad, but what stress does head to toe to your gut, to your brain. Certainly we know what it does to the heart and the blood vessels and things, right? It constricts and it works in a negative way, but it was so fascinating, again, just to, you know, hear it and see it in like more of a layman's terms, and just, it's so detrimental. Stress was good for all of us when we were cavemen, right? And we were going against it. But now we live in a world where most of us, we're stressed almost all the time, whether we know it or not. And what that does to our bodies and the way that our brain perceives our palpitations, our abdominal pain, our swelling, it makes us different. It just is, it's an interesting evolutionary change that we've all been through, that now that what used to help us when we were, you know, fighting the bear, you know, back in the caveman days, and what that does now, it's just, it's such a problem, and it leads to a lot of disease processes. Anyways, that's neither here nor there, but like, it's just so hard to figure out how to manage stress in a way that's good, right? They talk about, of course, like meditation and all these things. I find meditation really hard. Are you good at meditation? Have you ever tried that?
I don't really like it.
Yeah, it's if you can turn your brain off. I don't do good with that. My brain is kind of always working. I can't ever get relaxed into it, but that sometimes can really help. They talk about just positive thinking. Like, it's shocking. They've done studies on it that if you can, when you're starting to go to the negative about I'm tired, I'm not feeling well, I don't do this, which again, especially for most of my patients, they have all those symptoms and more, right? Trying to focus a little bit less on the symptoms and more on positivity, and maybe getting outside and walking or doing something when they don't feel like it. What that does to retrain the brain on the symptoms. Again, this is all like, there's no perfect fit, no easy answer. It's not going to get rid of the fatigue. But it was just fascinating on what our brains can do for our body and vice versa, you know? And then there's the whole gut thing, right? Where when you're not eating well, and for diabetics especially, the way that your border of your gut is sending messages to your brain all the time that you are not getting what you need nutritionally, especially when you're on some of the medicines you're on. And what that does to your whole body and your symptoms, it's really crazy, let alone, you know, the sleeping, right? How do you feel like, how's the sleep been of late?
Better the past couple days.
Okay.
But I have a kind of a bad neighbor above me that makes a lot of noise.
It's always something, right? Yeah. Okay, get rid of the metoprolol. Epic fail on that, and we'll try something else. Let me take a listen to your heart, my friend. Good. A couple deep breaths for me. Good. Good. Good.
So the last time we did the, I don't know, was it ECG?
We did.
We were looking for the atrial flutter.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you said we didn't find that, but it's the results said something about a repolarization.
Yeah, I'll show you.
And I read about that. It said it could lead to cardiac arrest.
No, you have always had that ever since your event back in the day. And so part of what it is, I'll bring it up so we can see it. I have to get into a different area. Where is it here? No, that's the final one. Where is...
Are we gonna order another Zeo patch?
What do we think? Do we think we can? I'd love to, right? Like, I'd love to put another one on. Here's one. I don't have the most recent one scanned in yet. It must be in some file. But here's another one, right? Where, well, this was a flutter one. But the early repol for someone it's related to the density of how big that QRS is. Normally, this level is a little bit above that level. So it should go down to like that. And because it's so much deeper, it's
like
just
3 times.
Exactly. And so that was in flutter, right? It's usually a little bit, I'm going back like a couple of years. Let me go find one from like before. This is 2022. But it can be different when you're in flutter. I always tell people that. Like, you know, is it sometimes. But if we look back, you know, and overall, now this was a bad one because they got a bad lead on V2. So someone messed that lead up because it should be down going. But see this one? See how that one, it's still much bigger than where that one was. And every EKG is a little bit different, right? But still that is a little bit longer than it should be. And for certain people that we know nothing about their heart, let's say someone comes to the emergency department and they just have that. They should have a stress test. They should have an echo. Because what you worry about is that when it takes that much longer, you worry that the heart is starting to get a little bit bigger and a little bit more stretched out. That's where it can lead to cardiac arrest, cardiac problems, right? If you don't know someone has that. This has been the way for you for a long, long time, but because of it's the way that your heart is at this point, right? And so an EKG, this isn't my model that opens up, is it? Okay, so an EKG obviously is on the surface of our chest, right? Trying to look at the electrical system. The electrical system, which lives inside, right? So we have the sinus node go down here. When our heart muscle thickens over time or gets stretched out because there's too much fluid and someone has congestive heart failure, or if they just have that problem where it's stiffer, right? Which we've known about your heart for a while. That stiffness means that the electricity is taking longer to get. And that's why this can be much more pronounced. And then you go into flutter and your heart rate doubles and it can look even worse. So it was much more prominent 2 times ago when Dr. Schreiber had that EKG with the flutter. But that's the reason that it's there. If you don't know someone has that, you need to do a workup, right? Echo is the first thing, stress test. It's usually next. But for you, we know that you're going to have that, you know.
Like,
and
I
that's
didn't need
something-
cardiac ablation.
Well, and that's part of it. That's why we should redo the Zeo patch to see if you're having a lot more of it. Then the answer is we would have a low threshold to send you to an electrophysiologist that then would say, yeah, let's get rid of this. And flutter is easier to get rid of than atrial fibrillation, right? If they're both in the same category of things, but atrial flutter is more organized, so therefore they can find it better. I always tell people those ablation techniques, oh boy, those electrophysiologists, it's such detailed work, right? Different than like what Dr. Schreiber does, which is, cardioversions and things like that are a little bit more crude, right? They're just zapping your heart back into normal rhythm if you're staying into it. Thankfully for you, I mean, your heart rate is beautiful today, and there's no evidence that you're in fast A flutter, and the EKG last time looked good. But certainly, yes, I would like you to wear a Zeo patch. That, even if we got 4 or 5 days, that would be better than nothing. I don't think you're going to be able to tolerate it for
I
a
think
full...
in April I have some days
Yeah.
coming up where I'm off.
Oh,
Work
good.
for like 3 days.
Okay,
And I work 1 day and then I'm
Yes.
off for like 3 more.
that would be a good one,
I'm
right?
thinking about asking for
Yes.
that 1 day off and see if we could go
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
6 or 7 days without working.
Great. That would, because then that would be better. And then you could, not shower, but like maybe do a little less showering, right? I know some people, they're like, Stacey, don't take away my daily shower. It's my one.
I can't guarantee that they're gonna
Yeah.
keep my days like that, but I'm hoping they
Yeah.
do.
Does work stress you out? Is that a stressful part of your life, or is it pretty okay?
It's okay except for the lightheadedness.
Yeah.
Like when I'm reaching above to put
Yeah.
something on a
Something
shelf,
on the shelf, it makes it hard.
or if I squat down and get back up.
Yeah. Remind me where you work? I'm blanking now.
Walmart now.
Walmart, yeah.
I'm a stalker. But
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with unloading the truck anymore.
Good.
They put me from team 2 onto team 1.
Is it a pretty good, like your boss is pretty cool and like it's a pretty good place to work, or
Yeah, it's alright.
stable, right? It's a job, right? I heard that all those places, everybody got a raise like just this month. Is that happening? Like, or
That's
is,
once a year.
oh, it's once a year. Okay,
I got like a 40-cent raise.
I know, right? That's what I know. That's what everyone around here. Same thing. It's like, great. Like, what's 27 cents gonna do to my overall rate when a gallon of milk is like $6, right?
For 2024, people in
Yeah.
fast food in California
Yes.
make, I think, $20 an hour. I make like $17.39 an hour.
Isn't that crazy? $20 an hour. But
Yeah.
you know what that means is that your hamburger at McDonald's is now going to be $1 more, right? It's like all the prices are already going to go up, which
I make too much money right now to stay at my low-income apartment because the cap is $28K a year,
yeah,
and I'm gonna be making over that
yeah,
because I'm on a ticket to work program through Social
Yes.
Security, so I get $1,200 from Social Security.
yes,
Plus like $1,800 a month that I'm
Yeah.
earning. That's gonna be too much for the year.
So what does that mean for your what is this? Because the rental market in Napa, I hear, is insane, right? I mean, it's so expensive. So what do you think you're going to have to do?
Quit working toward the end of the year.
Yeah, once you kind of isn't that a mess? Isn't that
Either
messed
that
up?
or go full time and drop my Social Security.
Yeah. Isn't it it's just a mess, right? You shouldn't have to make those decisions. They should just let you stay where you're at. You and I don't get to make the rules, right? If we did, it would be a whole lot easier. Okay, my friend, we're gonna try the bisoprolol. What's the worst that happens, right? You don't tolerate it, you stop it, right? I only did 30 tablets on that one because I don't want you to have too much, and then we'll try to get that Zeo patch organized when we do. And then when we see you this summer, if you're not due for labs for somebody else, we did them in January and they look great, right? We should probably do labs this summer, every 6 months or so. So like July or so. Does that sound about right?
I thought you would have wanted like current labs.
Do you have some more current labs? I have the ones from January 30th. Does that sound about right? January 30th, and then there was something on. Oh no, that's just the EKG from last time.
I think yesterday marks the 9-year mark.
9 years. Yesterday,
Yeah.
April 1st, it was.
Because my mom thought it was an April Fool's joke when I got admitted.
You'll always remember that. I mean, I remember you over there. I mean, I can remember, but it's hard to believe that's been 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Gosh. That was not April Fool's for you. That was horrible, right? I know. You are, though, you've defied the odds, right? Your heart muscle has really improved, but it's because of what you've done, though, you know? And I know it's hard, though, to stay doing all the things and all the meds and all the things. I know some days you're like, let's just get rid of it all, right? We've done that, actually, I think. And it's then we mess up, you know, the heart doesn't do well on that. But I know it's hard to take all the pills.
I still want to know my life expectancy.
You know, I mean, I would say it's really hard because we used to, right, based on MUGA scans, which are the best, right? The echoes are great, and that's what we use because we don't want to give people radiation every time we check the heart muscle function. You know, based on the fact that the most recent echo we had, the heart muscle was back to normal, right? That means that in theory, based on the heart, right? Now, the diabetes always messes things up a little bit because that can lead to kidney issues, which then can lower the life expectancy if we start to get worsening kidney function. But so many of the medicines, things like losartan, which of course now we have Entresto, which is even better, are trying to prevent that when people have diabetes. So hopefully that sort of is equal. But when we talk about the heart, even if you've had that weakening over time, if we get you back up into the normal range, people can live the same life expectancy, right? Now, where we get into trouble is sometimes people have this waxing and waning, like you've had, right? Where you're low, super low, then it gets better, and then it kind of flutters down again, and then it goes back up. But we also know, I can't even theorize today what we'll have for the heart in 20 years, because 10 years ago we didn't know Entresto was coming, and that has probably made the biggest difference to our patients, and what I've never seen it raise the levels, ejection fraction, as much as anything else. You know, we used to have losartan, lisinopril, like valsartan, all those ones, right? But there's something about the combination of the valsartan and then the S one. I hate to say it because it's like I always butcher the name of it. But what's in Entresto? It's that combination that really helps to attack the negative hormones that our kidneys, you know, send out. They send that message to the heart. The heart has to speed up. It's just this negative loop, right? Getting on the merry-go-round. So, in theory, with what Entresto has brought to the table, 20 years from now, there will be something even better than Entresto, right? That probably will lead to longer term. Because I know if we stop the Entresto, that the heart muscle will decline a little bit. Now, we hopefully don't have to stop it, right? The things that would tell us that we had to stop it is if your blood pressure was just super tanking low, right? But that's why even on the lowest dose, there's benefit, right? Even if we can only tolerate a baby dose based on the blood pressure, and then keep making sure that the kidneys are looking okay. But so if the heart muscle can stay in that normal range, your life expectancy from a heart perspective is just that of it was when you were born, which, you know, when you and I were born, it was, you know, I think the life expectancy for our parents was like 77. Now it's up to somewhere like 79 for a male, 82 for a female, you know, although that's in flux. You know, we have a lot of patients living into their 90s now, right? Exceeding that life expectancy, but still based on you know, what we know. Because then there's always things like cancer and other things that can take people earlier. But just from a heart perspective, if we can keep your heart stable in that stable range, 50-ish to 60-ish, you have a normal life expectancy. Now the diabetes, that always complicates it a little bit. But we know if you're treating it well, that's where medicines like Jardiance come into play. New things that we didn't even have 5 years ago. Well, it was just, I think, starting 5 years ago. But most of the patients have only been on it a couple years for that. Really can do good things. So keeping the blood sugar controlled, and then, you know, you're stuck with us. You're stuck with cardiology for the duration, and we're going to be looking at your ultrasounds moving forward. You know, that's something that we're going to follow chronically for you every 1 to 2 years. You know, if things are stable and the meds are pretty stable, 2 years is good. You know, if there's some new symptom and we're worried, we check it sooner. Yeah.
You spoke about a patient that had to move and got a new doctor and they changed his meds.
Changed the meds, stopped. That was back in the lisinopril days. Were you on lisinopril? I can't remember. Yeah.
But I had to stop it for Entresto.
That's right, and because it's got that in it, right? And so it's got that medicine part of it. Stopped all the meds, and their heart muscle went back down to 25%. Now I would say they got on a plane and they came because it was Dr. Schreiber's patient. I remember, but I saw him that day, and Dr. Schreiber was here, so he came in, and back on the medicines, his heart muscle went back up into the normal range. So we don't want those fluctuations to happen, but the fact that it was able to come back up, and this was pre-Entresto, right? So this was back when lisinopril was the best we had. But lisinopril's been around since Dr. Schreiber was in medical school 40 years ago. So it was an oldie but a goodie, and it's still fine. There are some of our patients that have your constellation of things that can't tolerate Entresto because their blood pressure's too low, and we struggle. Those are the people that, they take a half of a half. How much are they actually getting? Probably very little, but it's better than probably nothing, because they can't tolerate a full tablet like you can. So I know ideally we'd love to be on a higher dose, and hey, life is going to be long. So in the future, you might be able to up titrate, but right now, if we could find a low dose of a beta blocker to keep a lid on your heart rate, we're going to be happy. So you don't have more of a propensity to go back into that flutter.
So it's not going to be an issue like what that patient had since I cut back to half my dose of Entresto?
No. I would say, let's hope we don't have to stop all of your medicines. Yeah. Even a baby dose is beneficial, right? Let's say your blood pressure starts to lower. Let's say you lose 10 pounds because you don't have much appetite and on all your things, and then you can only be on a half of this load. We have to just take you the way that you are. This is part of what life is. It's tough because wouldn't it be easy if we just got on the right dose and you were just on that for 20 years? I wish my job would be so much easier, but it's not that way, unfortunately. So, it is what it is. But no, you are not going to have that happen to you because you had to go on the lower dose.
Right.
You're taking the dose that you can manage. Because I want you to be able to have some energy to be able to move and work and do the things that are part of your quality of life. What's the point of living the normal life expectancy if you have zero quality of life, right? So it's about finding that balance, which is not easy. And you've struggled that with now for 9 years, You've been...
I was also told to ask about if my meds would all be covered if I lose my Social Security benefits and start working.
That's interesting. What would be, because right now is your insurance kind of through the Social Security stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is very interesting. I would have to ask like my friend Javier or something like that who knows more about that. Because you're right, if we look at your pills, if I'm just talking about the heart ones, Jardiance and Entresto are your two that are expensive, right? All the other ones are cheap, like the rosuvastatin, the aspirin, bisoprolol, the beta blockers, those are all pretty cheap. But the other ones certainly can be more problematic from a cost perspective if the benefits change. So
Ozempic was one that I was told.
for sure, Ozempic can be a killer. Like someone said something like $900 for like two injections or something like that. Well, and the Ozempic truly, that's the one that's probably affecting your appetite the most. That's part of what it does.
I'm on the highest dose now.
You're on the highest dose now, yeah, because people don't always notice it on the lower dose. Again, that's not a medicine that I specifically order, but I know talking to so many patients these days, definitely some nausea sometimes, dealing with that and trying to get over that can be tough. But then on the highest dose, the appetite suppression, they notice it really kick in. Yeah. Have you lost weight?
Yeah.
I mean, you look like you have. Like how many pounds do you think?
I was like 265 or more.
Yeah.
For like less than a year ago.
Less than a year ago.
I've been down to as low as 218 recently. But today I was like 230 or something.
Yeah. Someone said our scale's a little off, but like still, that's a lot of weight. Do you feel like with that weight loss, you're able to move a little bit easier? Have you noticed any perceptible difference?
Less back pain,
Less
but
back
I've
pain.
also had an epidural recently.
Right. Well, I know the chronic pain in your back is always something that we've talked about. But seriously, yeah, losing
A
weight
friend
will
of
help
mine
with that.
helped me change my diet a bit.
Yeah.
And she said that you could have inflammation from like eating bad food and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All the things that are, all the things that all of us like, right, cause inflammation, right? So high inflammatory oils, so that's like fried foods, right? Because most fried foods, unless you're cooking it yourself in a less inflammatory oil, all fried foods have that inflammation. Sugar's the killer, right? And it's in everything, right? Even if you're, getting something that's lower in fat, which people think is better for their heart, and it is, but a lot of times the sugar content's through the roof, so it doesn't taste bad,
Males need fat in their diet, so their testosterone's in tank.
That's right, and so you need good fats, right? So it's about choosing better forms of fat, right? So the oils that are a little bit better, avocado oil, olive oil, coconut oil, although coconut oil is a little bit controversial for some, I don't know. Olive oil and avocado oil are definitely in the better camps. And then you're right, like avocados, nuts, things like that are better, And again, for diabetics especially, and if you're less on your appetite, focusing on things that are a little bit higher in good fat. If you're not eating as much, you got to make what you eat count type of thing, right? Versus like reaching for things that maybe are easy and taste good, like chips or something.
Try to avoid nuts because they're high in calories.
That's true, right? Yes, it's all about. This is the hard part when you're also dealing with the diabetes and other things, right? Is that things that would be perfect on a Mediterranean diet from just the heart, a lot of those things are kind of not great when you're diabetic. So I know it's tough. What we say is good sometimes is counteracted by the diabetes specialist, right? It's like the heart and yeah. Okay.
It's tough when I should be on a cardiac and diabetic diet. Both.
It's like, what do you eat? It's like you eat, what can you eat? Very little, right? Oh, my friend. Okay, well.
It's funny how you brought up caveman stuff.
Yes.
Stray Bro before told me that I should eat like a caveman, like nothing processed.
Yeah, I know. He's talked about that before. And it's funny how, again, when we talk about the different things, right, there's been that whole study that, keto, right, or like Atkins before it, right, there's always some new guy or person that recommends a diet, but the high protein, high fat diets. But it's also, a lot of those diets, they are more pro-inflammatory because if you eat that much.
It's bad for my triglycerides.
Exactly right, so I don't necessarily, I love Dr. Strebro, but I'm going to sort of say that I don't necessarily think that that's a good idea for you. But again, part of it is that what used to be the way, also, like, if we think back about how we used to, as a society, as human beings, way back in the day, we didn't have what is available now food-wise, right? So they could eat that because it was all, right? And then they had an apple tree. They could only have apples, 2 or 3 months out of the year, and then there was no more apples, right? So it's like the way that we were processed, the way we eat, so different. Now we can have apples year round. We can have bananas year round. We can have everything we want year round, and that's not how our bodies were necessarily ingrained to do. So moderation, I think, is, and especially now that your appetite's lower on the Ozempic, really focusing on what you eat being good because you're not eating as much, right? Yeah. There's no perfect answer, right? If we all knew what to do, because everyone's an individual, and you're right, once you get into the pickle of
It made a difference living in my own apartment too, away
Yes.
from my family and other people.
Yes.
I try to avoid fast food. Like the only time I really eat it is with my family.
Yes.
It's too expensive. I don't
Yeah.
like paying for it myself.
Yes. And the answer is that's good, right? Getting
And
away.
DoorDash or Grubhub is even more expensive.
I know.
So I don't do that either.
Good. Tell me, my friend, I can't remember. Did you Quest? Is that where you go for labs? Yeah. Okay. Because the lab here at the Queen closed, and so now I thought it was Quest, but I just wanted to make sure.
I've been thinking about changing my pharmacy to Walmart since
Yeah.
I work there.
Yeah.
It'd be easy to pick up meds.
It
there.
would be, right? And so
I
Walmart.
might even get a discount there.
I know, and I would say the medical assistants that deal with all the pharmacies, they love Walmart. They said the pharmacists are super nice. They're easy to get a hold of. Like Walgreens, well, Walgreens has had some struggles with all of those pharmacies closing and then
They're better now. For a while, it was taking an average of like 45 minutes to an hour.
That's right. It's definitely, my patients have said, they're like, it's finally calmed down, Well, they had lucky closed and all those prescriptions go there, and then they were just getting a handle on it, and then Pharmaca closed. So I feel like now they've been stable. I actually feel so bad for the patients like that have struggled with that. I mean, you know, because you're right. Who can stand there for an hour to get their pills?
Before I got my Epidural, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, really tough. Okay,
I was having sciatica like running
Yeah.
down my hip and into my knee.
Yeah.
Sometimes even my big toe will like numb. It's a lot better now.
Good, I'm glad. Okay, my friend, come on with me. See you in July. We'll do some blood tests July-ish. How about that? And let me know on the Bisoprolol. Fingers crossed that works.
That's something I could likely pick up today.
Yeah. Veronica will get you that appointment for 3 months. Blood test sequence.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome to have a seat.
That blood test done through
In 3 months, we have you see Dr. Schreiber. Would that be okay?
I prefer to see Stacy.
Okay, no problem. We can do that. All right, Tuesday, July 9th.
That should work. We
Um,
usually have Tuesdays off.
okay, 9:30, 10, 10:30, 11.
10.
Yeah, I believe it. Maybe she needed to be. Yeah. Oh, she has to wait there.
Yeah.
I can call them over at
I'm
cardiac
going
care.
at a cardiac tomorrow.
Okay,
Um,
on the patient that's coming out?
yeah, she blood test more than 30 day old. It's lab core maybe.
Or she can have it done the day of, to the
Yeah.
morning of. She just checks in 2 hours early.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be easier.
If you under the hospital tomorrow, 2 hours before the procedure, they can do the blood test there rather than you going to the lab. You want to do that, maybe? Okay. Yeah. you can do that. So
My
that
throat
you
is
don't
dry,
need to,
so I'll be right
do the
back.
blood test right now. They're doing tomorrow, so they have to find the time. Just Veronica will call you, okay?
Okay, now I just want to ask you about that procedure that you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can do it without
You can do, I have done on a very minimum, some patients, I've done on 1 or 2 in a year, but most of them we give some sedation, because patients feel anxious and things like that.
But it doesn't really hurt, does it?
No, once you give the numbing medicine, you should know.
I don't need it.
Yeah, but if you give something, you should be prepared to have a backup plan. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you check with someone, otherwise we can always get an Uber or something like that. Okay? Okay.
Alright. Thank you.
For the patch.
The
that
Zeo
you want-
patch?
Yes. Did you want that next available or just a month before the next appointment?
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible? Okay.
I did speak to her, and there's a time when I'm off for like a few days, and I'll work one day, and then I'm off for a few more.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to take off that one day, so I'll have a stretch of like several days off.
Okay.
I'll have to check
I
when
can-
that is. Though.
Okay. I'll just put something on the books for right now, but I can tell you our next available. Let's see. I have April 17th being the first one, and then once we go from there, it's there's more openings. So do you want me to just put it down for that day at 11:30?
Which day of the week is it?
It's a Wednesday,
At what time?
11:30.
Alright, then I'll take it. But I usually work Wednesdays.
Okay, which days do you not work? Is it Monday?
Tuesday and Thursday. I'll
Okay.
see a Sunday off, but that wouldn't matter.
Tuesday the 23rd.
Of April?
Oh no. The 30th at 11:30.
And what day of the week is that?
Yeah,
A Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Yeah, alright, I'll take that one. That's after I get that stretch of days off then.
And if it's not, you can always call us and try to rearrange.
Alright. The current Zeo patch I have that only stayed on for a day, should I be mailing that back in?
No, you wear it for 2 weeks.
But it came off in the first day.
Oh, yeah.
Like sweating and stuff.
Yeah, so they'll give you tips of how to try to keep it dry as much as possible.
But the one that came off, should I send it back already?
Ooh. You might want to go talk to them across the way about that.
Alright.
Yeah. What does Stacy know? Does she know about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't ask if I should send it in. I'm assuming I should, but I don't know if I should wait and just send them both in at the same time.
I'll have you go to Suite 7 and check with them about that. I can go with you. I can walk you over.
I don't really know if it got any data.
Yeah.
It started coming off, so I took tape and I tried to tape it on, but that didn't really help either. And the tape was just itching a lot.
Dr. Lucy can have a seat there, and I'm going to Mary in the back. Give him a call. Here's your information. You know what? I'll just have you go speak to Deanna about that, okay? I'll call you later. Okay, sounds good, Doctor.
The Zeo patch thing, and it came off within the first day. So they're letting me know when I think for April 30th.
Oh, they put you on the schedule?
Yeah, just now. But I was wondering, when it came off with only within the first 24 hours, should I send it back already, or wait till I send the other one in?
No, you can You can send it back, the stamp is already prepaid, but let me just look up. Because Stacy's supposed to be.
Not really sure who that is.
Let's see what she I think she said something in regards to adding more. What, did you do anything in particular that?
I did shower, but I tried to do like only from the chest down, and I was excessively sweating. I think that's what did it.
Yeah, let me see what she, let me tell you exactly what she put. Because, but I know you had to follow up with her anyway, so.
I just saw her today.
I thought she replied to me. Let me see. But I'm gonna put in, I'm just gonna double check what she said. Well, she just basically said if we put more tape on it, would that help? And if you would be willing to wear it again.
Yeah, I would wear another one. If it happens again, though, I might have to come up with a different solution.
Okay, so I do see they scheduled you for, April 30th, and then you'll see her July, and then, alright. So yeah, when you, let me just write the notes.
Is there anything different I should do for preparation?
So try if you can, no showering the first 24 hours, nothing that
How
will
about
make you sweat.
before I come in?
No, you can shower right before coming in, but after, like, to let the patch set and make sure that it stays on for 2 weeks. Yeah, if you just, no excessive sweating and no showering for 24 hours.
Alright,
I mean, yeah, but I know if you have to work, there's nothing we can do, but we'll try again on Tuesday, April 30th, we'll give you a call, to confirm the appointment, to give you a reminder before, the 30th, and then when you come in, we'll just have the tech add extra tape.
alright,
And then if it falls off again, it's okay, but then you can send the first one back, just so we can get that report, and then this one, we'll see what happens.
alright.
Alright, Andrew, so, we'll give you a call like 2 days before to confirm whether we. And
Is
then
there
it's
a,
also on there, I believe.
is there a longer fee?
Oh,
Not due back till like July or something? Well, I didn't really discuss log work too much.
we did, order labs, and they didn't print before you, right? Let me see. And
We
the
did talk about going to Quest and have the
yeah, so she
Lavender
did,
Queen closed or
they
something.
closed us like 2 weeks ago for good. So she sent them to Quest, is that okay?
Yeah. And when are they due?
I'm gonna write it here. Actually, I'll put it on the actual order so you'll. Judy?
Yes.
Okay, you checked in, you may have a seat and then the second.
Okay, thank you.
And I believe you do have to be fasting at least 12 hours, okay? Before you would go into these labs and then I'm gonna say due at the end of June.
Alright.
Yeah, I have your labs. You have to be fasting for at least 12 hours and then you should try to get these done at the end of June.
Alright, thank you.